Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here. I am currently at the station. I'm on my way up to Scholastic's book event. They are holding a book event for bloggers and vloggers to talk about some of the books that are coming up soon, and I'm going to take you along with me today. So I'm currently at the station. I'm going to make my way up to London, and then I will give you a sneak peek into the Scholastic event, and then give you a little bit of a haul when I get back. So come along with me.
My Gods was very selfishly a book I wrote for myself. It was a combination of all the things I loved reading as a teenager but never saw. So as a teenager I loved mythology, whether it was Greek or Norse or West African. I couldn't get enough of myths and folks and legends. And I also loved those over-the-top teen narratives like Adrian Mole, like the Princess Diaries. My absolute favourite was the Confessions of Georgia Nicholson series by Louise Henderson. Anyone know Angus Thongs and Paul Monster? Yeah. My absolute favourite books of all time. And I just wanted to combine those first-person teen narratives with the things I love the most, which were Greek gods, and then set it in a setting that I recognise, so my home of North London.
Yeah, so it kind of links into the next question, which is, what were your favourite books as a teen? So was there anything else on top of that?
Yeah, so Princess Diaries, I read those well into my 20s, which is probably a bit embarrassing to admit. But I also had this weird phase when I was a teenager of reading banned books. Like, me and my friends would club together and buy the books that were like banned in other countries when they first came out. So Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, one of my favourite books. The Wasp Factory, I did not like that one. Stuff like Fahrenheit 451, just we thought we were really cool and edgy because we were reading these banned books from the 50s.
It's a very literary form of teenage rebellion. That's amazing.
Such losers, but they're amazing books. So
yeah, so it all shaped you to read.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I just read quite widely. I also had it in my head. Like the BBC did a list of the 100 books you must read before you die. And I had it in my head that I needed to get through all of those, which is why I ended up reading Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So Alice in Wonderland it's a socially awkward gay teenage boy who has a life-changing summer when he gets a job at a rundown amusement arcade called Wonderland in his glossy seaside town where he lives. And I can promise boys kissing in the book, lots of cuteness, and a dog called R2 Dog 2.
The New Boy is a Black Mirror-esque twisted love story, which looks at manipulation, influence, and what it's doing to our free will and privacy in this digital age.
Mine is, it's going to sound really mad, but you just have to believe me that it's going to be good. It's a funny, romantic, Much Ado About Nothing prequel set in 1930s fascist Italy. So, obviously... I mean, that's what I thought, yeah.
Okay, question number 2. Are you trying to reinvent romance with your books? Let's go into the middle this time.
Potentially I am trying to reinvent romance with The New Boy. You're going to have to read it to see why that is. But it's also looking at the nature of love and people's different perspective on what is romantic love. And when it so in the book that kind of plays out in various different ways, but Jack Cartwright, who is the New Boy, for instance, is very passionate about Wuthering Heights, and Zoe, who is our narrator throughout The New Boy, loves Jane Eyre, and she thinks that Heathcliff and Cathy represent a very toxic relationship, whereas Jack thinks it's the ultimate in romance. So there's these kind of parallel things going on, and also whether there's questions of whether you can teach somebody what love is, and whether, if you are the recipient of fake love, but it makes you feel loved, is that good enough? There's lots of stuff going on in all these twisted forms.
I'm not trying to reinvent romance.
Well, the question,
Yes.
Yeah, but I am very enthusiastic about there being more rom-coms for queer kids and about queer kids, and that's really important. And that queer teens can enjoy those sorts of stories that perhaps we all grew up familiar with, particularly with Hollywood movies and stuff. That heterosexual teens can directly associate with, and that's what I'm really keen about. So I really wanted with Alex to write something for them really, and that had a happy ending and was a joyous sort of celebration, with ups and downs along the way, obviously. So not a reinvention, but an enthusiastic pushing on.
I don't think that I'm trying to reinvent romance. I think there's definitely a sense with the Sky Hinged Gold and with Andrew Dance's Style, the new book, that I wanted it to have that kind of slightly timeless classic feeling about it. So it actually makes quite a lot of nods to a sort of classic idea of romance. But one of the things that we were talking about in the green room actually is a thing that I feel like I am really conscious about when I'm writing now, is writing books for teenagers especially, is that about kind of modelling healthy relationships in the books, and about making sure that the kind of romantic figures in the book don't have to be the Heathcliff figures, that you can be nice and sexy, that you can be a decent person and romantic, that those things can work together. And so thinking about ways of modelling relationships and characters and issues of like consent and things like that in kind of slightly different ways, I think is something that I find myself thinking about when I'm writing a lot. But I think that's maybe like what everyone's doing now, right? I feel like that's, as young adult writers, that's something that we're all thinking about. So I don't think it's a reinvention, I think it's more just a kind of logical next step.
And I'm very, very excited to talk about genre and writing with two of our star authors. I will let you introduce yourselves, and I would love it if you could just tell a little bit about your 2019 book. Do you want to start out?
Yeah. I'm Alice Broadway. I'm the author of Ink and Spark and Scar, which is the third and final in the trilogy. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I only ran for it. I think it's the excitement. Scar is out on the 4th of April, and it's the end of Leora's story, and she better make it a good one.
So I'm Sue Hallman, and I'm the author of Lying Back Last Summer, See How They Lie, and Your Turn to Die. Very cheery titles. And my 2019 book is going to be called Dead Popular. I've got Linus to thank for that title because I think it fits it really well. And it's about a girl at a boarding school, and it's all a little bit sinister.
It's very sinister. It's great. It's really, really fun. Okay, so the panel's about sort of writing within a genre, and sort of when I was thinking about like what does it mean to be in a genre, you know, I think it's so much about expectations, both as a reader, but also for the market and as an author as well as you're writing. So I'm curious to explore that. So I would love to get your take on what you think your genre is, and what you think its core appeal is. Like, what are people looking for when they're picking up your book? Yeah. Sorry. That's a good question.
So I think Ink and the trilogy kind of falls into fantasy, but I think it does it in a little bit of an awkward way, which is one of my skills as well. And for me, I think fantasy is that feeling when you heard Hansel and Gretel and oh, there was a gingerbread cottage, and you suddenly went, oh, I like this story, or Lucy goes into the wardrobe and she keeps on going. It's that feeling of, okay, here's a world where things are going to surprise me, and things are going to be a bit magical, and things are going to ask and answer strange and awkward questions. I think that's one of the things fantasy does really well, and for me, that's what I like. I like that feeling when I'm reading.
It's funny because you said that it was an awkward fit.
Yeah.
What makes it sort of awkward to you, in your mind, about fantasy and your books in particular?
My books aren't very magic-y. My books aren't very kick-ass. So I think when my publicist and I with Ink were trying to work out where to pitch it, and we were like, should we say fantasy? Let's say fantasy. And I think it's maybe because it's not quite like anything else, which I think in some ways is a great strength. In other ways, it means it always is the kid that doesn't quite fit in. But I think for me that's the appeal of fantasy, because when I'm looking through the kinds of books that I love, the ones that I read are those ones that start off with a what if question. And I think that's, for me, that's what fantasy is amazing for, just giving you a kind of free rein to explore the what ifs.
And for you, what do you think of your genre and how that has maybe made a difference?
Yes, I think, and you're my editor, so I think you can understand the genre better than I do. But I think it's about plot foremost, but that makes me feel a bit sad, because I think it's about the characters have to be perfect too, right? I think setting is really key, but then of course setting is absolutely essential to yours too, isn't it? But no, that's not true, because I mean you've created the world, but and so plot, and it's just that kind of suspense. So I would say setting and suspense and that feeling that you've got to just keep going and you just want to kind of binge it is what I'm aiming for.
So it's interesting that you're actually aiming for an emotional reaction from a reader.
Yes.
Which is similar, I guess, because what you were saying about fantasy is that is that moment that things open up or twist in some way that shifts their expectations in a bigger way.
Okay, so I just got back from the event, and I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the conversations that were being had at the Scholastic event. Thank you so much to them for inviting me along. I really enjoyed it, and as always, it's nice to see other bloggers and vloggers. It's really nice to meet some of the authors and have conversations about their books and about new books coming up. So we were very kindly gifted a goodie bag and then allowed to pick some books as well. So I've got quite a nice little stash here to show you. And so the first thing that we were very kindly given is a bit of an exclusive, and it is an extract from Laura Wood's new book, Under a Dancing Star. You will have heard Laura Wood talk in the footage that I've put up. So I'm really excited to read this one when it comes out fully in July. I may even read this sampler. I don't tend to read samplers because if I really enjoy it, it really annoys me that I can't read it straight away. But I'm really looking forward to the sound of this one. A book I've been seeing going around BookTube quite a lot recently, especially by American YouTubers, is The Love and Lies of Roshana Ali by Sabina Khan. And I really just think this one sounds like an excellent book. But I am not going to tell you about this. I am going to pass over to Sabina.
Hi everyone, I'm Sabina Khan, and I'm so thrilled to tell you about The Love and Lies of Roxana Ali today. Roxana is a queer South Asian Muslim teen, but she has to keep the queer part of her identity hidden from her parents, at least until the fall when she gets to go away to Caltech and have a fresh start. Unfortunately, her parents catch her and her girlfriend Ariana kissing, and her future begins to collapse around her. Devastated and confused, her parents whisk her away to Bangladesh, where they plan to marry her off before any hint of the scandal can get out. With the help of unexpected allies and her grandmother's diary, Ruxana finds the courage to stand up for her beliefs, to fight for her love, and to get back control of her life. I hope everyone who reads Ruxana's story will find some connection with her desire to carve out a space for herself where all the different parts of her identity can mesh together into a unified whole, which is her true self. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all get a chance to read The Love and Lives of Ruxana Ali.
Okay, so another person who popped up on a lot of the conversations with authors as being a favourite is Louise O'Neill, and I have yet to read The Surface Breaks, a reimagining of The Little Mermaid, and we were very kindly gifted these beautiful hardbacks which look like, oh, mermaid scales under the cover. So I shall be picking this one up and giving it a go and seeing what I think of this sort of feminist Little Mermaid tale. Next is another sort of reimagining, and that is a modern retelling of Little Women, and it's called Becoming Joe by Sophie Mackenzie. So this is Little Women as if it was set in the modern time, and I just think that sounds like a really interesting idea. I don't know anything more about it than that. The back doesn't tell us any more. It just tells us that this is a modern retelling. So before the new film comes out, and I'm definitely going to give this one a go and see what I think. I quite enjoy Little Women. I read it again last year, so I'm up for the challenge of seeing how a modern retelling fits in. From the table we were allowed to pick 5 books, and I picked up a few here that I was really excited about. One was because of hearing the author talk, which I didn't actually manage to get any footage of, and the others are ones that just sound like they're going to be fitting in with the type of books that I'm wanting to read at the moment. So this book was the one book out of everything that I heard today that really fascinated me the most, and it's by a new debut author called PM Freestone. She was really charismatic. She ran a little bit of a game with us, and this really taps into a buzzword, I suppose, for me that doesn't come up too often, and that is perfume and scent. This is a start, I think. I don't think it's a standalone, but even if it is, it's called Shadow Scent, and this is called The Darkest Bloom. I think it just sounds amazing. It comes out in this month, and I'll read you what it's about, because perfume and scents it's a real big thing for me, like a real big buzzword, but you don't find that many books about it. It says, in an empire of Aramtesh, scent has power. 17-year-old Raquel has a great talent for fragrances, but her scent law skills aren't enough to heal her dying father. A plague is spreading across the land, striking emperor and commoner alike. She leaves her desert village for the city of Afana in a desperate attempt to save him. Instead, she finds herself indentured to the head priestess at the temple, who holds many secrets, cryptic ancient tales, as well as buried truth from Raquel's past. Royal bodyguard Ash is sworn to protect First Prince Nisai, and the Imperial Prince protects him in return by keeping Ash's true identity hidden. One fateful night, the temple's precious scented flowers are set ablaze, and Prince Nisai is found poisoned. Caught in the smoke, Raquel realises that she is the prime suspect, and that she holds the only clue to finding an antidote. And any chance for a cure is a risk that Ash is willing to take, even if it means disobeying orders, partnering with a fugitive, and going on the run. Before the poison takes hold, the unlikely pair must race across the empire to save the prince, themselves, and everything they hold dear. It says this sweeping epic full of adventure, romance and political intrigue will ignite your senses. And from what PM, or Peter I think her name is, said, I think there is sort of like a bit of a competition involved at the beginning, in terms of once a year they hold this sort of competition and you get tested on your scents and what you can smell. I just think it sounds really interesting, so I'm really pleased that I managed to nab the last one of these that was on the side, so look out for a review of this in the near future. Then I heard lots about The Mortal Engines by Philip Reeve when it came out as a film. I hadn't really heard much about it before that, but now I do feel like it's coming out, I think, on DVD in April. I would like to watch it. It's piqued my interest, but I would like to have read the first book in the series first, and so I will be reading that. I don't know much about it other than it's sort of, I think there are different cities on these sort of moving like moving towns, and there's sort of battles and wars that are going on with each of them. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. But also in our goodie bag we got this called Night Flight, illustrated by Ian McHugh, which is going to be it's a new book, and it looks like it's short stories, but they've all been illustrated, which is amazing. It says Ian McHugh's stunning illustrations bring the city eats city world of Mortal Engines alive in 3 original stories about the brave, bold, rebellious aviatrix Anna Fang. So those will go really well together. And then finally I picked up 3 other books, but they are part of a trilogy. I don't know much at all about this or about the author, but I am on a real contemporary kick, and so this is, I think, maybe the Awkward series by Beth Garrett. So there is Super Awkward, Truly Madly Awkward, and Access All Awkward, and they give me Holly Bourne feel to in terms of the look of the covers. I think Super Awkward is the first one, and the back says, I, Bella Fisher, am absolutely winning at failing in life. I once got my tongue stuck to a box of Calippos in a supermarket. I accidentally called my geography teacher Mum twice. He wasn't impressed. I'm a geek, not in a geek chic kind of way, but in a secretly caring about failing maths and science way. I always fail maths and science. So it figures that when I meet the fittest boy in the world, Zach, I'm doing solo star jumps while dressed as a cereal box. Now I've got to somehow persuade Zach to come to prom with me while avoiding my evil ex and dealing with a secret so mega orcs I want to control Z my brain. What could go wrong? Oh yeah, that's right, absolutely everything. I think this just sounds really fun, and then this obviously carries it on. I think this last one is set at some sort of festival, so I love a good festival story. So I think, you know, I'm going to give these by Beth Garrett a go next time. Well, next time I've got time to pick up a new contemporary, because, you know, I have the TBR going on at the moment. But yeah, it was a wonderful day, and again, thank you so much to Scholastic for thinking of me. I really enjoy going to them. It's really great to hear the talks, to hear the authors talk about their books, to hear some more generic talks and some talks about specific themes. There's always a bit of a quiz, which is really good, and they've treated us to some amazing books, which I can't wait to get stuck into. So yeah, that's it from me, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.